Go to your YouTube.
Okay.
And then just, if you hit spacebar, it should pause.
Spacebar? Oh, Jesus.
So spacebar pauses it?
I believe so. That's
Is it
usually
playing
how
it
it
to
works. Hit
music?
spacebar and see what happens. Yeah, okay? So if you need to pause it.
Okay.
Okay, so you should have
You're doing the first two sides.
Bsktball, Bballorange, and Donkey checked off. They're right up there on the presentation
This is
screen.
a good one.
Eyes and ears up front, please.
Here you go? Okay.
Alright. The Great Depression was a horrible worldwide economic depression in the decade preceding World War II. It lasted from 1929 to the late 1930s to early 1940s. It was the deepest, longest, and most widespread worldwide economic depression of the 20th century. Herbert Hoover was the president during the Great Depression. He was the 31st president of the United States. Besides his political career, Hoover was a professional mining engineer and author. Franklin D. Roosevelt was a president in the Great Depression, but his term was after Herbert Hoover. Franklin D. Roosevelt influenced the recession in 1937. Franklin Roosevelt was born on January 30th, 1882, and died on April 12, 1945. He was the first U.S. president that got elected for 2 terms. Roosevelt launched a series of programs called the New Deal. The New Deal was Roosevelt's way to solve the problems caused by the Great Depression. During the Great Depression, thousands of young people wrote to First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt for help. They asked her for clothing, money, and other forms of assistance. Eleanor Roosevelt was born on October 11, 1884, into the world of wealth and privilege. She is the daughter of Anna Hall and Elliott Roosevelt.
Living in the Great Depression. The Great Depression changed the lives of people who lived and farmed on the Great Plains first, then changed in America. Most houses consisted of shacks and really grim-looking houses. At the height of the Great Depression in 1933, nearly 25% of the nation's total workforce, 12,830,000 people, were unemployed. United States unemployment percentage was 25%, and some countries were as much as 33%.
The start of the Great Depression, Black Tuesday, was when there was a sudden and total collapse of the U.S. stock market prices on October 29, 1929. 744 banks failed in the United States. Oh, that's a picture. It shows the 20s when the stock market was going up, and then Black Tuesday when it dropped dramatically, and then the short recovery, and then it just kept going downhill from then on.
McHale Kelsey to the office.
Bonnie Parker was born on October 1st, 1910. Bonnie and Clyde were known as outlaws, robbers, and criminals. They were eventually ambushed and killed in Louisiana by officers on May 23rd, 1934. And Clyde Barrow was born on March 24th, 1909. Many people believe that the government spending on World War II caused an accelerated recovery from the Great Depression. In 1941, America's late entry into the war brought the unemployment rate below 10%. There were many causes for the first downturn in 1929, including the structural weaknesses and specific events that turned into a major depression. The business cycle turned into an actual depression instead of turning into a mild and short recession. At different times, various countries started to recover from the Great Depression. Most countries began to recover in 1933. The U.S. still had an unemployment rate of around 15% in 1940. Herbert Hoover brought the GDP down when he was in office, and then Franklin D. Roosevelt brought it back when he took over as president. That's the end.
Okay, so go ahead and give your peer review and hit submit. And then you can shut down your laptop, put them in your case and zip up your case. Oh, did you hit stop on go to iMovie?
I dare.
And then hit stop.